Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So I'm sorry that this video has taken so long to come out, but I've been meaning to do a geometry video for a really long time, but I just never got around to picking out the correct questions, and so I thought today I'd just stop procrastinating and just start with doing it. So I just sat down, took me some time to find out the right appropriate questions, and just wrote down everything that I wanted to cover. So in today's video we're going to be covering geometry. We'll be going through quite a number of questions that will be fairly comprehensive-ish. So just to start off with, so the first thing in geometry is obviously formulas and equations, right? So normally geometry consists of 2D shapes and of some of the 3D shapes as well. And so importantly, on the next page, I'll talk you through some of the common formulas and equations you should know. In terms of what normally comes up in regards to the 2D shape, it's circles, rectangles, and squares. And I would say that the 2D shapes definitely come up more regularly than some of the 3D shapes, okay? So therefore, it's the kind of 2D shapes which we're kind of like more interested in almost. I guess they're more high yield in a way. But of course, the 3D shapes do come up as well. Therefore, it's really important to be able to understand how to be able to work them out and to do these questions. And secondly, as you know, my favorite slogan on this channel is practice, practice, practice. You cannot beat repetitiveness, okay? You cannot beat repetitiveness. So please do as many of these questions as you can. And if you guys haven't checked out any of my earlier quantitative reasoning videos, and this is the first video, and this is the first video you're seeing on my channel, please do go and check them out. I think I put them into playlists. Everything is divided very accurately into playlists on my channel, so you should be able to find it, whether that be calculated tricks, whether that be currency, time zone, speed, distance, time, rates, tax brackets, and over the next coming days I'll release more of these videos as well. Okay, so without much waffling, let me get into it first of all. So the first thing is perimeter and area, really important to know. I won't cover all the basic things. I think you guys know how to work out perimeters of like quadrilaterals, triangles, etc. I just thought maybe circles I could go over. So with a circle, the perimeter is going to be equal to pi times d. So I've got circle here. Remember, this is the radius, and this whole 2 times the radius is the diameter. So the perimeter is pi d, or pi times d, which is the same as 2 pi r, because diameter is equal to 2 lots of the radius. The area, therefore, is pi r squared. Okay, or if you want, pi d squared over 4. It means the same thing, doesn't really matter. Okay, with triangles, so obviously you'll know the perimeter of a triangle is just the outside parts, but area of a triangle is going to be its base, okay, times its height times 2. So height times base, sorry, not times 2, divided by 2, or times by half. Okay, and importantly, some of the things with triangles that they use to trick people is, for example, they might use isosceles triangles. So here, for example, these two lengths are going to be equal, and it's just going to be the base one that's going to be different, and so on and so on. Okay, so sometimes what will happen is if they give you like an equilateral triangle, they might give you, let's say this is 6 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 6 centimeters, and they ask you to find its area. Well, obviously, to do that, you need to know the height, which you can work out by doing a little bit of Pythagoras, because if you divide it into almost 2 triangles, this section becomes 3, and so then to work out this section, it's simply 6 squared minus 3 squared square rooted, which is 36 minus 9, which is root 27, which becomes root 9 root 3, so that's 3 root 3. So then it would just be 3 root 3 times 6 divided by 2. Okay, just some examples here. But I thought circles are probably the most prominent ones, and perhaps just a good refresh, but of course you guys will probably know most of this anyways. Okay, and then when it comes to quadrilaterals, you know, not too difficult. Some of the more potentially challenging ones is maybe if you ever get like a parallelogram or something, but it's a similar concept. So with like a parallelogram, it's just the height times the base. Okay, and that's weird because people ask me, oh, but isn't that what a rectangle is? But if you think about it, all the parallelogram is this kind of bit here is the missing bit over here. Can you kind of see it gets transferred over? So all it is just a rectangle in disguise, really. Okay, perfect. So important thing with quadrilaterals is, and this is not necessarily just, the only point here isn't to only talk about quadrilaterals, but any quadrilateral can be divided into 2 triangles. So you get anything that has four sides, and you can see you can quite easily split it into triangles. And this idea of splitting shapes up, especially in one of the later questions, is going to be really useful. So if you do have, you know, like, I don't know, some kind of crazy build type of shape, something like this, sorry, that was meant to be a semicircle, you know, you can quite clearly see it's, you know, divide it up, work out this area, work out this area, work out this area. Not too bad. Don't treat it as a whole shape, but as a set of compound shapes, essentially. So the next thing that's really important is volume. Okay, so with volume, you guys will know the common ones. So for example, I actually haven't put cube here, but cube is just length times width times height. which is all the same for a cube. So if we call that x, it's just going to be x cubed, for example. For a cuboid, slightly different because the length, the width, and the height are, at least two of them are going to be different. So therefore it's just the length times the width times the height. So for cuboid, so this is all for volumes, so length times width times height. Then for cylinder, okay, so for any 3D shape, well, I guess that's true for the other ones as well, but all it is it's the kind of face of the shape and then multiplied by how long it is, essentially, right? So that holds for the cuboid as well. So the face of the shape is the width times the height, and then you multiply it by the length, okay? So similar thing here is you just have to work out the area of its one of its faces and then how long it is, essentially, right? So for cylinder, it will become the area of the circle, which we know is pi r squared from just previous, multiplied by, okay, its height. And then with the others, like with triangular prism or cone, for example, so with cone, it's just 1/3 pi r squared h. And then with a sphere, it's basically going to be 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so that's kind of basically essentially the main kind of volumes that you should be able to know. And then obviously I didn't really mention triangular prism, but we follow that same concept of, it's basically like this face has been extended all throughout, if you think about it. So I'm always really bad at drawing these, but okay. Can you guys kind of imagine this triangular face has been extended throughout? That's the volume, right? So you just have to work out the area of this face multiplied by whatever its height is here. So it's just going to be the height there, the base there, and obviously times by half because it's still a triangle, and then multiplied by its length, not its height. Okay, but that's just like a really, really quick run through. And just a couple of things I want to note. They will probably give you these if you have to use them, the cone and the sphere one, so you probably don't have to know them. I would say definitely know cylinder, cube, cuboid, probably triangular prism as well. But normally they should give you the cone and sphere ones. Okay, so with surface area, so when I was looking at surface area, actually, this is one of the things that I found, which is a bit of a hack. I hadn't really seen it before. But normally, for example, if I was doing a cuboid, the old-fashioned way to do it is if you think about it for like a cuboid, okay, the surface area is just going to be, you have two opposing faces that are the same on each side. So let's say you've got length, width, and height. It's just going to be like 2 times height times length, and 2 times width times length, 2 times height times width, and you've got to add up all of these, and you get your overall answer. Okay. However, whilst I was just doing a little bit of research, and actually I found this within Medify's page itself, which was quite interesting actually. So if you go to their geometry section, if you have a look at it, so within the section itself, I found a little bit of a faster way to do these surface area questions essentially. And basically what they said was, so the surface area for any kind of prism is just 2 times its base area, okay, plus base perimeter times height. Okay, it kind of makes sense. I'll explain where that idea kind of comes from. So basically, obviously, so here with the cuboid, we have 6 faces. So when we do 2 times base area, we're accounting for this and this across the top here. And then what this bit basically refers to is, what they do is they basically get the whole perimeter around. So let me use a different color maybe. And they almost, like this, they get the perimeter out, and they kind of like extend it up like a curtain sheet, almost, like, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe that's the best way, like you're pulling it up, like, you know, imagine you've got like a load of folded cloth in like a square shape, and you like lift it up so it kind of becomes like a curtain, and then therefore that will represent covering like all these other 4 shapes, all these other four surfaces, if that makes sense. So it basically kind of shortcuts this method because it kind of puts 2 of these together. But yeah, so the 2 times base area, that's the length times the width, I guess. So it still keeps that one, but the other 2 are kind of like jumbled in together. So this is one that I think potentially I might even start using in my own work. But yeah, this is really useful. So 2 times base area plus base area times perimeter. Sorry, base perimeter times height. So I would really, really recommend this. Okay, great. So with the other surface areas, you guys know how to work out the other kind of like common ones. like cube and cuboid, but like I said, you can use this as the shortcut. If they ever ask you to work out surface area of something like cone or sphere, I'm 100% sure they'll give it to you, so don't worry about them too much. You don't need to, your brain's already probably fried at maximum capacity right now trying to work out the UCAT. You don't need to do this. You don't need to put more information in there, basically. Okay, so let's go on to one of these questions. So once again, if you guys want to take a pause, maybe see if you can have a go at this question, and we'll talk through afterwards. So what is the area of one of these shaded regions? So you can see it's basically a circle within a square, and it's the remaining space between the two. So we're going to work out what the square's area is, which is 36, which is a 6 times 6. Then we're going to work out what the area of the circle is going to be, which is pi r squared, which is 3.14. So I just take pi to be 3.14 unless they specify, right? There's no pi button on the official UCAT calculator. 3.14 times 3 times 3. Remember, the diameter is 6. So that gives me 28.26. So the remaining area between them is going to be 7.74. Again, I guess this is in meters squared. So please do apologize for my lack of units here. But that represents all of the hidden areas, right? All of these missing areas. We only want one. This is one of these shaded regions. So therefore, it's just going to be this number divided by 4. Which becomes 1.935 meters squared. Okay, so if you want to round it, 1.94 meters squared. Perfect. So not too difficult of a question. On to the next one then. So let's have a look at this one. So Farron plans to make a cap for a cylindrical poster tube as shown in the figure to the nearest tenth of a square millimeter. What is the total area of the cardboard portions required to make the cap? So just making the cap. And you guys may not be able to recognize this, but this is actually just a cylinder. I'm not talking about the whole thing here. I'm talking about this. This is a compressed cylinder. So since we need so it's asked about what's the total area of the cardboard portions required to make the cap. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to assume that it is, since they're asking for area, okay, they're going to be asking for surface area here. It's not going to be the volume. So it doesn't say what's the volume of the cardboard portions as such. We're just looking at the surface area here. Okay, so we can follow our surface area formula, which is going to be 2 times the base plus base times, so perimeter times height. Okay, well, base perimeter times height. So 2 times the base. The base here is a circle, so you can see that's basically going to be pi r squared. So 2 times 3.14 times 25 squared plus the base perimeter, that's pi d. Remember, that's we're trying to go all the way around the outside. That's pi d, so that's just going to be 3.14 times 50, and then times the height, which is 13. So 2 times 3.14 times 25 squared, which is going to be 3925 plus, let me just make sure that I get this right, plus 2041, which then equals plus 3925, 5966 millimeters squared. So once again, do apologize for the lack of units, but yeah, you can see here the surface area formula makes things way easier. Okay, perfect. So importantly, the important idea here was make sure you don't get mixed up on the radiuses and the diameters. Okay, great. Okay, so on to the next question. So the diagram shows a garden office pod that will be installed in her back garden. The office pod is hexagonal in shape and will fit exactly in a 6 by 6 meter portion in the back garden. What is the area of the back garden that will be filled by the office pod? Okay, so the idea here is what it means by it's fixed exactly in a 6 by 6 meter portion is it's trying to tell us that this and this all the way is 6 meters. That gives us valuable information because that tells us therefore that this missing area here is 150 centimeters and that this missing area here is 100 centimeters. So remember earlier on I spoke about how you can divide shapes up. For example, I spoke about quadrilaterals. So the way to do this question, I guess there's a couple of ways you could do it. So if you really wanted to, for example, you could divide up like this. So you could work out the area of triangle A, and well, these two areas are going to be the same. So the area of these two triangles, and then you could add the area of the rectangle, which you'd find out because this length is just Pythagoras of this and this, and this is just Pythagoras of these two lengths. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. The other way, which I think is going to be easier, and the way I'm going to opt for instead, is if we know this whole area, okay, the whole thing is 6 by 6, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to just remove 2 of these triangles. Do you see? Because the office pod is this whole thing here. So it's simply going to be 6 times 6, subtract these. So this is 150 cm, this is 100 cm. 100 cm, 150 cm. So if let's say we're going to do this in meters, so 6 times 6 is 36 meters squared. 100 centimeters is 1 meter times 1.5. Remember, this is area of triangles, so we divide by 2. So base times height divided by 2. But remember, there's 2 of them, so these 2's will basically just cancel. So this is going to be 1.5 meter cubed. So the area occupied by the office pod is therefore going to be 34.5 meters cubed. Okay, so much simpler the question than what it looks like. Okay, at first it looks really complicated, but remember, you got to try and think about questions in different ways sometimes. And I guess that whilst this not maybe necessarily like a specific Easter egg like I showed you in some of my earlier QR questions, it is still a different way of thinking about things. Okay, on to the next question then. So here, perfect chance to demonstrate that example that I was discussing. So remember what we said. So the surface area formula is 2 times the base area plus base perimeter times height. So that equals 2 times, so the base is going to be the 5 and the 2, so you can see the 2 centimeter belongs here, 3 centimeter belongs here, 5 belongs here. So it's going to be 2 lots of 2 times 5, because that's the base area, the area of this basically, plus the base perimeter, which is 5, plus 2 plus 5 plus 2, which is going to be 14, plus 14 times by the height, which is 3. So that's going to be 20 plus 42, which is 62 centimeters squared. Okay. The other thing you can do as well is remember what I said. The old formula that I would have used would have just been to do 2 lots of 2 times 3, 2 lots of 3 times 5, 2 lots of 2 times 5. And if you add these up, that's 12. That's 30. That is going to be 20. And you'll see you get to the same answer. Okay, so it's just about familiarities. Either of them will work. Okay, but yeah, I think this is quite a cool method, and I would definitely recommend you guys to check it out. So thank you so much for watching. So I know this has been a little bit more of a longer one, but there were some key examples here that I wanted to go through, and I know that recently some of my videos have been a little bit shorter, but I hope that this one makes more sense. And what I'm going to do is the next video that's coming up, I believe, is going to be a decision-making one. So please keep your eyes out for that one, because that's going to be which questions should you skip in decision-making. So I'm going to talk you through the best strategy, I believe, for decision-making. But if you are new to the channel, I really appreciate if you made it this far into the video. Please do comment below what you'd like to see next. And of course, use that document. Please keep sending in your questions, and it just allows me to basically do questions much more easily and upload videos much more smoothly. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, guys. And